SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be continuing on with Dante's Inferno with Canto 34. Now, last time we saw Virgil and Dante, they were making their way across an icy land. Well, a land that seemed to be made of glass at least, with people's heads coming out of the water. And we just finished the story of a man who was imprisoned wrongly with his 3 sons, and they basically starved to death. And now, in the afterlife in hell, he's eating his captor's head for all eternity, along with another head who said that he is able to see the true identities of people, that the current rulers of the land are all possessed by demons, and if he wants them to, he can allow them to see this just as he does, but they need to open his eyes for him, in which Dante refused and went on his way. Now, let's continue on, shall we? Vexilla, regis, produent, Inferni. Towards us, therefore, look in front of thee, my master said, if thou disconcernest him. As when there breathes a heavy fog, and when our hemisphere is darkening into night, appears far off a mill the wind is turning. Methought that such a building then I saw, and from the wind I drew myself behind, my guide, because there was no other shelter. Now was I, and with fear in verse I put it, there where the shades were wholly covered up, and glimmered through like unto stars in glass. Some prone are lying, others stand erect, this with the head, and that one with the soles, another bow-like face to feet inverts. When in advance, so far had proceeded, that if my master pleased to show to me the creature who once had the beauteous semblance, he from behind me moved and made me stop, saying, behold this, and behold the place where thou with fortitude must arm thyself. How frozen I became, and powerless then. Ask it not, reader, for I write it not, because all language would be insufficient. I did not die, and I am alive remained not. Think for thyself now. Hast thou aught of wit? What I became, being of both deprived, the emperor of the kingdom dolorous, and from his mid-breast forth issued from the ice, and better with a giant I compare. Then do the giants with those arms of his consider now how great must be the whole, which unto such a part conforms itself, where he as far once, and he now is foul, I limited up his brow against his master, while may proceed from him all tribulation. Oh, what a marvel it appears to me, when I beheld 3 faces on his head, though one in front and the vermilion was, 2 were the others that were joined with this above the middle part of either shoulder, and they were joined together at the crest. And the right hand one seemed twixt white and yellow, the left was such to look upon as those who come from where the Nile falls valley-ward. Underneath each came forth 2 mighty wings, such a befitting were so great a bird. Sails of the sea I never saw so large. No feathers had they, but as a bat their fashion was, and he was waving them, so that 3 winds proceeded forth therefrom. Thereby Cocytus wholly was congealed, with 6 eyes did he weep, and down 3 chins trickled the tears drops and the bloody drivel. At every mouth he with his teeth were crunching, a sinner in the manner of a brack, so that he 3 of them tormented thus. To him in front in the biting was a knot, unto the clawing for some time the spine utterly stripped of all the skin remained. That soul up there which has the greatest pain, the master said, is Judas Iscariot. With head inside he plies his legs without. Of the other 2, the head downward are, the one who hangs from the black jowl is Brutus. See how the rise himself and speaks no words? And the other, who so stewardly seems, is Cassius. But night is reascending, and 'tis time that we depart, for we have seen the whole. As seemed him good, I clasped him around the neck, and his vintage seized of time and place, and when the wings were opened wide apart, he laid fast upon the shaggy sides, and fell to fell descended downward then, between the thick hair and the frozen crust, when we were come to where the thigh revolves, exactly on the thickness of the haunch. The guide, who lay with labored and hard-drawn breath, turned round his head, and where he had his legs, and grappled to the hair, as one who mounts, so that hell I thought we were returning. Keep fast thy hold, for by such stairs as these, the master said, panting as one fatigued, must we perform depart from so much evil. Then through the opening of a rock he issued, and down upon the margin seated me. Then towards me he outstretched the weary step. I lifted my eyes, and thought to see Lucifer in the same way I had left him, and I beheld him upward hold his legs. And then I became disquieted. Let stoled people think who did not see what the point is beyond which I had passed. Rise up, the master said, upon thy feet. The way is long and difficult, the road, and now the sun is middle tierce returns. There was not any place corridor, there where we were, but dungeon neutral, with floor uneven and uneasy of light. Ere from the abyss I tear myself away, my master, said I when I had arisen, to draw me from an error, speak a little. Where is the ice, and how is this one fixed, thus upside down, and how in such short time? From eve to morn has the sun made his transit? And he to me, thou still imaginest thou art beyond the centre, where I grasp the hair of the fell worm, who minds the world. That side thou vast, so long as I descended, when round I turned me, thou didst pass the point, to which things heavy draw from every side. And now beneath the hemisphere art come, opposite that which overhangs the vast dry land, and neath whose cope was put to death the man who without sin was born and lived. Thou hast thy feet upon the little sphere, which holds the other face of the Justitia. Here it is morn, when it's the evening there, and he who his hair a stairway made us, still fixed unmaintaineth, as he was before. Upon this side he fell down out of heaven, and all the land that whilom were merged, from fear of him made of the sea of vile, and came to our hemisphere of and pre-adventure, to flee from him. What on this side appears, left the place vacant here, and back recoiled. A place there is below from Beelzebub, as far receding as the tome extends, which not by sight is known, but by the sound of a small rivulet that there descendeth through chasm within the stone which it has gnawed, with course that winds about and slightly falls, the guide nigh into that hidden road, now entered to return to the bright world, and without care of having any rest, we mounted up, he first and I the second, till I beheld through the round aperture some of the beauteous things that heaven doth bear. Thence we came forth to re-behold the stars. Alright, with that being said, let's talk about it, shall we? In this one, we finally get to the final levels of hell. We finally get to meet Lucifer, who in this phase is more of a three-headed creature, a demon that's just torturing the greatest sinners of all time. One being Judas, some you may know, some you may not. And while Dante does get his attention, Virgil manages to keep it stealthy and manages to get him past the devil himself. From there, Virgil helps guide Dante to a safer area, somewhere that he is able to move on to the next phase of everything. Carrying Dante on his back, he manages to make it to Mount Purgatory. From there, that's where we get to see that this is where heaven is finally reaching. This is where Lucifer himself was thrown out of. And this is where we begin the next phase of Dante's journey through not just hell, but through purgatory, and finally heaven itself. Alright, and with that being said, we have finished Dante's Inferno as a whole. It's been a while since we started, since I think last October or maybe even mid-August, and I had to say it was pretty good all in all. I think we did very well in this. There will be one more video coming up next week about Dante's Inferno, and this is more of a retrospect, talking about the meaning, talking about the purpose of it, what kind of is the point of all this, what does the ending mean. And from that point, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for going along with me. Thank you for sticking around if you did. I really do appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for books or poetry, please leave it down in the comment section. Or even if you want me to continue on with Purgatorio and Paradiso later on, I'll strongly consider it. But if you want me to do stuff like Dracula, Frankenstein, whatever, please let me know, because I would really like to be into that. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. And come by next week where we do a full retrospective on it. And yeah, thanks again, and see you guys next time.